Hey, welcome back guys, and today we have another should you pull video for you guys today featuring the limited unit Lethe as well as her artifact, and if you guys should be buying that from the Powder of Knowledge shop. This artifact is pretty good, we'll talk about it in a second. Next we also have Pavel, who is also running. Pavel will only be running for 1 week because he's not limited, and we're also going to talk about his artifact Dux Noctis as well. So first off, let's talk about Lethe guys. If it isn't obvious, you should definitely pull for her. She's an extremely powerful unit for PvP in the current meta, and she's also very strong in the side story. She will make your runs faster, and if you actually do get some artifacts on the way to pulling her, you will actually be able to use this during the side story and farm more currency, which will in turn give you more gear. Now, in case you guys don't know what she does, let's talk about her skills very quickly. Her S3 is an AoE attack that will decrease buff durations by 1 turn and inflict frostbite and restrict for 2 turns. And you can soul burn this for an extra turn. And the cooldown's pretty short, it's only 4 turns, guys. Next, we have her S2. The first part of her S2 is that she will not have to use any souls when she soul burns for the first time. And when she attacks, she will inflict 1 omen on the target regardless of whether the attack hits or not. And this will not apply when she is attacking through a counterattack, a dual attack, or an extra attack. So counterattack set will not work with this. Conquerleus's dual attacks, if she pulls Lethe, will not work, and yeah, extra attacks will also not work. Next we have her S1 guys. This is going to be her main ability. So her S1 is going to be a single target attack that gives her speed buff, and after attacking, when the target's omen is 3, she will consume all that omen to activate Call of the Abyss. Now the way this works is if you hit a target with 2 omen, so let's say you soul burn your S3 and then S1 right after. On the next turn cycle, if you S1 on the target that you hit the turn prior, that's at 2 omen, you will proc your Call of the Abyss because you will be at 3 omen after the attack lands. Now, Call of the Abyss is basically a single target attack that will extinct the enemy if it kills them and will also heal everyone if you kill that unit. This cannot trigger a crit and will also penetrate the target's defense, and this scales with Lethe's max HP, and the heal will scale with the target's max HP. This does a lot of damage. On average, this will hit for about like 16-17k if your Lethe's built properly. So if you actually use this to execute a unit, you'll pretty much just win the fight, and this is going to be her main win condition. And the main way you're going to activate this is by soul burning her S3 on the first turn, then you S1 right after, get to 2 omen, and then on the next turn cycle you just S1 that target, and then you will pretty much kill them if you have targeted a squishy unit. So she's very powerful against teams with 1 solo damage dealer, or even tanky teams, because if they can't take her down fast enough, she will just constantly be proccing this Call of the Abyss, because her S3 does apply this on the AoE. So overall guys, I think Lethe is pretty much a must pull. She's a limited unit, so you want to pull her anyways. We don't know when she'll come back, and she's also very strong in the current PvP meta, and you don't need to have super crazy speed gear. Yes, you want to build her pretty fast at about like 240 speed at the very least, but it's nothing crazy like 300 speed openers, right? So everyone is able to build her. All you really need is speed and health and some defense, and you're good to go. There might be some other builds that people try out in the future, but for now it's pretty simple to build her, and she's pretty strong in the current meta for PvP. In PvE, she's not going to be that great just because she takes too long to ramp up and she can't crit with her Call of the Abyss, and units that cannot crit in PvE usually are bad, so mostly a PvP unit. But even so, I think you really want to pull for her because right now during the side story, if you pull her very early, you'll be able to farm the side story faster, and you'll also be able to make light work of this side story boss. Now for artifact guys, Prayer of Solitude. This artifact is broken. So this artifact is warrior exclusive, and the reason why it's so overpowered is because it just gives you flat HP, which is very good on HP scaling warriors, which there are a ton of in the current meta, right? We have like Valencia, we have Edward Elric, you also have Shu, you have Lethe herself. You're also going to see when you're attacking, you'll just have flat damage increase, and when that attack is an extra attack, you get an additional damage increase. So basically, if you have this artifact on and it's maxed out, you get 20% extra damage on extra attacks, which will make units like Shu and Valencia hit super hard. It will make Lethe's Call of the Abyss hit super hard. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. Warriors are very good on this artifact, and units that don't really want to use Sigurd's Scythe will benefit greatly from this. I think this is going to be better than Draco Plate in terms of damage, but Draco Plate also gives you that damage reduction. But keep in mind, this artifact, Prayer of Solitude, also gives you health, which will increase your damage even more while also making you bulkier. So this artifact's very good. Definitely recommend pulling this for sure, or at least buying it from the Powder of Knowledge shop. And this is an artifact that I would see a lot of people pulling for multiple copies of, because not only is this artifact good for PvP, but also if you pull for a lot of copies of this, you'll get extra currency from the side story, which will make it so that you can actually farm more currency and farm more speed set gear that you really need. Yeah, pretty much this banner, very good. I think Lethe, you definitely want to pull for her artifact. definitely want to buy at least from the Powder of Knowledge shop. And whether you pull for multiple copies, it's up to you. But I think this banner is definitely a good candidate for multiple copies for both the artifact and the hero, because they're both very good and they will benefit you during the side story. Next, we have Pavel, guys. So I'm going to talk about him very quickly because he's not a limited unit, and most likely if you have enough bookmarks to pull for him, you're going to end up spending them on Lethe's banner anyways to pull for extra copies of Lethe or artifact, like I said earlier. But, you know, Pavel, pretty decent cleaver. Basically, you bring him with a mage that holds Talgal's Ancient Book. You S2, and then you will soul burn it, so you get an extra turn and do AoE damage, give yourself attack buff, and then you S3 to one-shot a unit. Only thing is, yeah, he is pretty tough to gear. You need him to be very fast while dealing a lot of damage. And also, the fact that you need a mage with him on Toghells to make him work. He is somewhat used by cleavers nowadays, but there's just better options, and I don't think he's worth sinking your bookmarks into. His artifact, guys, this is going to be Dux Noctis. You're going to increase the attack of the caster when an ally makes a crit, and this stacks up to 8 times. Yeah, not really that great. You definitely don't want to buy this with your Powder of Knowledge. You're way better off buying Lethe's artifact, and then if you have extra, just saving it, because this artifact's not that great, not really used on too many units. So yeah, pretty much, guys, you know, pull for Lethe, get her artifact, very, very good for PvP, and they'll benefit you in the side story for farming gear. Also, if you pull for dupes, it's really up to you and how many bookmarks you have left. For me personally, I'm going to pull as much as I can because I really like the design. I think she's a very good unit, and her artifact is very good. But if you guys want to save and you're happy with one copy of each, that's perfectly fine. It's up to you guys to decide on that. For Pavel, guys, definitely want to skip this altogether, just not a great unit. That's pretty much it for this should you pull video though, guys. Thanks for watching, guys, and supporting the channel. If you guys want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe and leave a like. It'll help me out a lot, and I'll see you guys next time.